Hi, this is Anita from Real Estate Crunch. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what does the assessed home value mean and why it should matter. And why this is something that every single property owner should understand, or any future property owner should understand. So first of all, let's define what is the assessed value. The assessed value is the estimation of a property's value determined by comparing it to similar properties. City or county will typically perform this evaluation to assign property taxes appropriately. So the value, this will be like an assessor, who is a person that works for the city, will make several considerations to be able to assess exactly what is the value of your home, and then calculates this assessed value so you'll know what you need to pay in property taxes. So usually the assessed value is multiplied by 80% or 90%. So it's not quite 100% the value of the home. It depends on where you live. It could be 80% or 90%, and then that would become what the taxes you owe. Assessed value is different than the market value. The market value is essentially what you could sell for your home. This would be actually whatever the market bears. It can either be higher or lower than the assessed value, just depending upon your location and where you are. The market value can be influenced by several factors, such as the property layout, the age and condition of the property, the location, and recent sales of similar properties in the area. So in other words, if you have a really rundown house in a very nice neighborhood, your assessed value could be higher, but your property may not have as much value for the market value. It just really depends upon where it is. Market value can fluctuate frequently. It can go up and it can go down, sometimes week by week, depending upon the buyer, demand, the market conditions, the interior renovations, the upgrades, such as new bathrooms, finished basements, that type of thing. All of this can really, increase or decrease the market value of a home or property. The assessed value is more static. It typically remains unchanged for 12 months until it's reassessed. So, if suddenly you live in an area which was more of an average area, and suddenly it becomes this very swanky, very expensive area, the assessed value of your home could go up. And this really is a real thing for many people. In fact, I was reading an article recently in the Desert News, which was the Utah newspaper, and they were saying how there's some areas of Utah where people have lived in a home for like 30, 40 years. They basically own the home outright, but their property taxes have doubled or tripled, and they can hardly afford to stay in the home now because the property taxes have gotten so high. So that's a reality which can happen in some areas of the United States, that if you've lived in a home for a long time and suddenly now maybe your assessed value of your home goes up very high, you maybe could be taxed out of your home, so to speak, because of the fact that you can't afford the property taxes. And that's why this is really key for you to understand this whenever you're purchasing property, because property taxes are something that you must pay every year. So the assessed value is important for several reasons. One, let's first talk about if you're selling the property. The assessed value can help you set the right price for the property itself, and it can help you be able to market the property. For buyers, the assessed value can help you negotiate the price. If you see that the assessed value is very low, but they're asking for a high price, this could give you some negotiation. It will also estimate for you future taxes. So when you are buying property, you don't just need to look at your mortgage month-to-month payments. You need to also look at your taxes. If your taxes are extremely high, which they are in some areas of the United States, it may be almost as high as your mortgage in some cases. So you really need to be able to assess and look at this. So now I'm going to do a little bit of math. And I admit I'm not very good with math, but we're going to do a little bit of math to understand, so you can understand a little bit about how the assessed value works. So let's say the local tax assessor values your home at $300,000 for tax purposes. The local assessment tax rate is 90%, meaning that they will look at 90% of the home's value. Therefore, you look at the calculation, 300,000 of 90% is 270,000. So 270,000 would be the taxable amount the amount that the government will use to calculate the value of your home. So you can see it's not quite the full value of your home. Your home's been actually valued at $300,000, but $270,000 is what they will use to calculate the tax. So this is important for you to understand this. You might be able to, even though your home's been assessed for $300,000, you might be able to sell your home for $400,000 in the open market. So, the assessed value doesn't really affect your home price that much, depending upon the location, where you are, and what people perceive as the value of your home, the repairs you've done, the other things you've done to your home. So understanding these differences is important because it really helps you understand what taxes need to be paid, how they need to be paid, and it also, helps you understand what the value of your home is. So whether you're a buyer or seller, it's important for everyone to understand the assessed value and to understand the difference between the assessed value and the market value of the home. If you'd like to be able to read more on this, I've written a blog entitled Understanding Assessed Home Values and Why They Matter, and you can read that blog and find out more information about assessed and the market value and why these things matter, whether you're a buyer or a seller. This is Anita from Real Estate Crunch. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate your time here, spending a few minutes with us each week. Learn a little bit something new about real estate. Thank you so much for being part of our community.